वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभंग गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जगात सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच। A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sangat Ji, with one love, with one soul, we have all been called to this door of oneness. A chance to celebrate our diversity and raise our vibration. As a practicing Muslim, I have never felt an outsider in this Sangat. Moreover, I have found a collective consciousness of faith and self-inquiry. I have found an opportunity to go beyond labels and barriers and to travel deeper within. The words of the Sangat and the inspirations from Gurbani have further deepened my own faith. Not only this, but through this Sangat, spiritual interactions within my family and friends has also deepened. If oneness is truly understood, there will be no room for hatred, jealousy, or discrimination. As Baba Farid Ji says in Gurbani, Farida khalaq mai, khalaq wase rab mai. Farid, the creator, is in the creation, and the creation abides in God. Akhir ja this bin koi nahe. Whom can we call bad? There is none without him. If this is understood, then every interaction we have will be an act of prayer and devotion. There is no need to be called to prayer, because everything we experience becomes a call to prayer. Controversially, for me in particular, the need to bow also disappears. The need to travel to a certain place of devotion also disappears, because now each interaction, each moment, each experience becomes a call to prayer. This is the ultimate state of mind of the true lover of the divine, who has risen beyond labels. Until then, the physical acts of prayer are of importance and not one to be neglected. Today, I wish to speak about how to inspire faith and to raise a family based on faith values, and how we can make spirituality practical in our busy lives. I take inspiration from the Sangat and from the divine to be able to deliver this today. Despite being a Muslim, prior to joining these discourses and Sangat, I knew very little about Baba Farid, but today I wish to draw inspiration from them and the other great souls who have shaped me in order to share these thoughts today. Sangat Ji, let us close our eyes, bring your thoughts to the present, focus on your breath and meditation. Let us now travel to the 12th century city of Multan in Punjab. There, a devout lady, an inspiration to all mothers, lived by the name of Bibi Mariam. Bibi Mariam had unflinching faith in the divine. She was a kind and generous lady. Despite whatever pressures the day brought, she would never miss her call to prayer and would perform namaz not just 5 times, but multiple times a day. Bibi Mariam is the blessed mother of Baba Farid. Baba Farid themselves were an early voice of oneness. And it is this love of oneness which is why their words are alive and included within the Guru Granth Sahib today. From an early age, Bibi Mariam encouraged Baba Farid into devotion to the divine. For Bibi Mariam, it was more important to impart spiritual values in her children than worldly teachings. Bibi Mariam encouraged her young child to pray. Each morning, she would lay out Fariji's prayer mat and would encourage him to pray. The innocent Baba Farid asked his mother, "What will I receive if I pray? Why do I need to pray?" Bibi Mariam answered, "If you pray, the divine will bless you with sugar." Fariji loved sugar sweets, and the thought of receiving sugar for praying sparked Fariji's curiosity for prayer. Every morning, Bibi Mariam would lay down Fariji's prayer mat and would place sugar underneath it for the young Farid. Every morning, after finishing their prayer, the young Farid would be delighted by the sight of one small piece of sugar under their mat. Quite quickly, Fariji's devotion and curiosity increased. In childhood excitement, they awoke early one day and laid down their own prayer mat and began to pray. Bibi Mariam was devastated. She thought her innocent lie would be revealed. Immediately, she prayed to the divine to protect her honor. For times, she had tried to inspire the divine in devotion, and now she was crying to the divine, "Please, I have not placed sugar under Farid's mat. Please, do not allow his devotion to break. May he fall deeper in devotion to you." Bibi Mariam repeated this prayer frantically for the duration that the young Farid was absorbed in his namaz. The time came, the namaz finished, and the curious Farid lifted his prayer mat. But this time, Sangatji, there was not a single lump of sugar. Instead, the whole area under the mat was covered with sugar. In amazement and excitement, Fariji ran to Bibi Mariam and told her what had happened. The divine had listened to Farid's prayer, but had answered the calls of Bibi Mariam in one action. Immediately, Bibi Mariam fell in thankfulness to the divine, but from here, she showed further inspiration. Mixing the sugar with rice, she created a sweet delicacy and inspired Fariji to share these treats and blessings with all the children in the area. Bibi Mariam took this opportunity to further inspire her child in devotion. Bibi Mariam's prayer shows not only the power of prayer, but the inherent power that is within a devoted and loving mother, a mother that wants nothing else other than their child to experience their divine potential. There are many other acts of inspiration from the life of Fariji and Bibi Mariam that act as an inspiration to those raising children in a spiritual environment. Fariji, at a very young age, had the intense urge to leave home and meditate in seclusion. Bibi Mariam immediately gave Fariji her blessings. Pushing all worldly attachments aside, Bibi Mariam only wanted her son to deepen in devotion. Fariji left for the jungle in order to embark on intense meditation in seclusion, to which he did not return for 12 years. As Fariji returned and embraced his mother, Bibi Mariam sat Fariji down. "Son, you have been away for such a long time. Let me wash you and comb your hair and look after you." Fariji sat down and Mariam started combing his hair. Mariam asks Farid, "How did you survive in the jungle?" Fariji responds, "Mother, I generally didn't eat, but when I did, I would pull the berries and leaves from the trees." Hearing this, Bibi Mariam immediately pulled Fariji's hair, which led to Fariji crying out in pain. Bibi Mariam immediately said, "Farid, you have felt pain with one tug of hair. Imagine the countless pain you have caused to those berries and leaves. You still have some way to go in your depth of awareness, and for this reason you must leave for meditation immediately." Sangatji, this was a lesson of spiritual discipline for Farid, so that he could control his desires and emotions, and more importantly, to overcome any worldly attachments that may have existed. And this was only possible with the inspiration of their mother, Bibi Maryam, who took her spiritual duty to raise her child with divine virtues and in absence of worldly attachments. It is for these mothers, the Gurbani Fariji themselves say, Aap lailo lai dar darvis se. Those whom the Lord attaches to the hem of his robe are the true dervishes at his door. Din dun janedi mao ay safil se. Blessed are the mothers who gave birth to them, and fruitful is their coming into the world. This Saki of Fariji and Bibi Maryam acts as an inspiration for anyone who truly wants their child to have a spiritual life. The spiritual duty of any parent is to raise their child with devotion and divine values, but somewhere down the line this is often missed. As long as life has existed, there has been the debate of nature and nurture, but it goes without saying that children, in fact anyone around us, will be affected by our emotions, feelings and vibrations. If we are constantly negative, this negativity will pass to our children and those around us. But if we are inspiring, loving, motivating, this will be lived and displayed in those around us. Bibi Maryam herself was devoted and inspiring. Firstly, she had to be devoted. Then she had to inspire. And thirdly, she had to put her emotions and attachments aside in order to continue to inspire. In the fast-paced and often chaotic world we live in, cultivating faith and raising a family grounded in spiritual values can seem like an overwhelming challenge. Many times we see parents coming into conflicts. They want their children to be spiritual, to adopt these values, but this is lacking in themselves. We will only be able to inspire our children if we are maintaining our faith and inspiration ourselves. Then there comes a point where parents start to worry about their children's worldly achievements. This becomes the purpose of our prayer and constant thoughts. This is a hard one for any parent. But the spiritual parent, those mothers like Bibi Maryam, have reached a place where they do not impose these worldly validations on others. They realise that if they impart their children with divine values, worldly achievements also come running. In today's world, where both parents often juggle work and family commitments, making spirituality a part of daily life can feel like a daunting task. The promised Messiah taught that the key to maintaining a strong connection with the divine is regular, consistent worship. Incorporating spirituality into family life can be as simple as engaging in small, meaningful rituals, reading a passage from your holy book together before meals, praying as a family, or discussing the teachings of the saints in daily conversations. These small acts help to keep spirituality alive within the household. Once families make time for these spiritual activities, even if they have to adapt to their busy schedules, by making such practices a regular part of life, they become more than just rituals. They become sources of comfort and strength that help the family navigate challenges. A child that is inspired to put effort in devotion will also automatically put effort into education and work, because the root discipline, motivation, and work ethic has already been implemented. I look at my own life now and how I am raising my 5-year-old daughter. I would be lying if I said there weren't many times where I've fallen far from my spiritual path and I've struggled with my devotion. Children are divine. Their innocence echoes the voice of the divine. And for me, my 5-year-old daughter had to remind me to pray. I then thought it is time to also start teaching her the namaz and surahs from the Quran. She was so excited when she received her child-sized prayer mat and would lie it down and was ready for prayer. We then sat down for prayer, and during the middle, in her childlike innocence, she turned to me and said, "Mama, this is a bit boring." Immediately, I thought I was failing, but couldn't engage in a conversation with her mid-namaz. I then started to recite louder, knowing she was familiar with the words. Immediately and again, with the same innocence, she said, "Oh, I know that one." Involving your children in your everyday lives and your everyday spiritual lives is what will recognize these children on their spiritual journey. The first and most important step in inspiring faith is for the parents to be role models of spirituality. In the teachings of the promised Messiah, it is emphasized that the example parents set in their daily lives will deeply influence their children. Parents should strive to demonstrate love for the divine through consistent worship, prayer, and reflection. When children see their parents engaging in regular acts of worship, they begin to understand the importance of these practices as an integral part of life. Additionally, the importance of creating an environment in the home where faith is actively discussed must be stressed. It is not enough simply to be a good example. Parents should also encourage open discussions about spirituality and the significance of good character. The Holy Quran offers extensive guidance on how one should behave, and these principles can be practically applied to family life. When children learn the importance of good manners, respect for others, and compassion, they begin to understand that spirituality is not limited to rituals, but it is also reflected in their everyday behaviour. Turning now to Maya. Maya in Gurbani refers to the illusion of material attachments that keep us away from spiritual progress. When it comes to raising children, Maya can manifest as excessive attachment, worldly distractions, and a focus on material success over spiritual well-being. Gurbani repeatedly warns that Maya binds the mind and prevents it from realizing true spiritual wisdom. So here are some key ways in which Maya stops us from raising children spiritually, supported by Gurbani references. Maya creates attachment and delusion. Parents often become so attached to their children that they prioritize their worldly happiness and success over their spiritual growth. This attachment blinds them from teaching their children about Naam and moral values. This means that if parents are deeply attached to the illusion of material happiness, they cannot guide their children towards spiritual wisdom. Secondly, focus on wealth and status over Naam. Many parents push their children towards academic achievements, wealth, and social status, believing that these are the keys to success. However, Gurbani reminds us that material success is temporary, and without Naam, it is meaningless. If parents do not focus on spiritual discipline, their children will be caught in the cycle of desires, anger, and ego. Thirdly, Maya distracts parents from teaching Simran and Seva. In today's fast-paced world, Maya keeps parents busy with work, entertainment, and social life, leaving little time to teach children about Naam, Simran, and Seva. Gurbani warns that human life is rare and should be used wisely. If parents are absorbed in Maya, they cannot guide their children towards devotion. Fourthly, ego and pride prevent spiritual guidance. Parents sometimes impose their own pride, expectations, and egos on their children, rather than leading by spiritual example. Gurbani teaches that humility is essential for spiritual progress. Instead of instilling humility and devotion, Maya makes parents push their children towards competition and ego-driven success. Then we have neglecting spiritual teachings from childhood. Many parents do not introduce their children to Gurbani, Naam, Simran, or Gurdwara Sangat from an early age. Instead, they focus on entertainment, education, and worldly activities. Gurbani reminds us that without spiritual wisdom, human life is wasted. If parents do not teach their children about Gurbani from childhood, it becomes harder to instill spirituality later. By overcoming Maya, parents can ensure that their children grow up with strong spiritual foundations. As the Gurbani reminds us, Babaniya Kahaniya Put Saput Kare. Sharing the stories and inspirations of our past devotions make our children good children. With the divine's blessings, let us hope we can also inspire many generations to come on this path of devotion. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.